This is, like you got others coming. You walk around the block, into their house. This pregnant woman, there's children.
How do you think
This is all they see, this is all they know. People getting killed and racially profiled that look like them because of people that wear this weird. I'm not even gonna say look like them.
now they near in riot gear. In riot gear, there's no riot gear.
Right. Like,
I'm not from here. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen in a neighborhood.
Y'all not even from these blocks. They're trying to tell us we can't go to this block right now. Y'all not even from down here. Majority of y'all. Majority of y'all not even from here. If it wasn't for him right now, I'll make these motherfuckers turn up. So just know that though. I don't respect that. It's out of pocket. Like, how y'all telling us we can't go through our blocks? And we from here. We be out here. Y'all not from down here.
this is who protecting the youngest in the neighborhood.
Fuck, they doing it.
This is who's talking to these youngest and giving them game. If y'all came out here and tried to talk to these youngest instead of thinking everything they did was wrong, they're children. Most of what you're seeing done is done by children. They don't know what they're doing. They have no guidance, or if the guidance they have isn't working. If your goal is to protect them means more than just establishing law and enforcing it. Protecting them means saving them not only from the streets, but from themselves. Educating them. If you don't believe this system should change, then you don't deserve to wear that badge. And that's just me speaking frank and honestly. If you don't believe this system needs to change, you need to look at that badge, look at yourself in the mirror and take it off. Because if you can look at yourself and say that everything that's going on is justified, but look at your children and say if it happens to them, you will be angry, you're a hypocrite.
My name is B. McFly. I'm the top motivator in the world and your sober messenger. I get on my platform and I speak on gun violence, education, addiction, rehabilitation of the absent father, and mental health issues. This ain't about black on black crime versus police brutality. I'm tired of people talking about, well, what about the black on black crime? Black people are not born to hate each other. Black people are not taught to hate each other. The reason why we go through crimes in our community is because of the economy. When you're poor, poor things are gonna happen. Violent things are gonna happen. But what about the mental health of the police officer that was raised to hate black people? What about their mental health? What about being a part of the white supremacy? What about saying, when I see a black man, I don't care what he got going on, what he's doing, I'm aiming to kill. What about that? So I asked, I used to work with the 18th district, and what I mean by that is this. My platform and me bridging the gap with the community and the police officers. And I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought that I said, well, you know what? In order for us to understand each other, we have to bridge the gap. But guess what happened? They all unfollowed me when I came out here to fight for Walter Wallace. They all unfollowed me on Instagram and they stopped messing with me because I was fighting for Walter Wallace. So you know what that tell me? That you guys are a gang and y'all don't give a fuck about nobody else but the blue. I asked Captain Gillespie, let's talk, Cap. What's going on? You was just on my podcast the other day, self-inventory, and we talked, no answers. No answers. So what I'm going to do is keep fighting, 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 until we get justice. And I'm here to let y'all know this right now. I ain't here for no clout. I don't care about no politicians. Don't be a politically correct fucking dummy.
Thank you.
This ain't about voting. This ain't about none of that shit. This is about us coming together and us protecting our rights. And this is what I do, and I'm gonna pass the mic out because I can be here all day. But at the end of the day, this is about us uniting and us coming together and us saying his name. Say his name now. Walter Wallace. Say it loud. Walter Wallace.
This is not a competition. This is not about organizations coming out here to put their name out here. On Monday of this week, a 27-year-old black man was shot down by the Philadelphia police.
Now these kids right here.
His name was Walter Wallace Jr. Dr. Wallace! And if you are not out here for justice for Walter Wallace Jr., then you can take your ass home. I said if you are not out here to demand justice for Walter Wallace Jr., then you can take your ass home. You can take your ass wherever you came from. This is not about an election.
Right.
Because guess what? Democrats have been running the city of Philadelphia as long as I've been alive. So I don't want to hear shit about how an election is going to stop the police from killing black people. I know it is a very opportune moment for a lot of people who give a damn about electoral politics to descend upon the city of Philadelphia to tell you that voting in Joe Biden, an author of the crime bill, is someone who tells us that they are top cop. They want us to believe that that's going to stop police from killing black people. But guess what? The only thing that will stop police from killing black people is if we remove power from the police. If we abolish the police. About an hour ago, I think we saw one of the most empowering expressions of black power that I've ever seen in my life. Hundreds of people who came out here, perhaps with good intentions, descended on a community that is hurting, who watched one of their beloved community members, who they know, who they love, get gunned down by the Philadelphia police. And you know what they told us? Get the fuck off our block. If you ain't from around here, get the fuck off our block. And you know what? They were right. They were right. They were right. Right now, we have to follow black leadership. Right now, we have to follow black communities. And we have to remember that this is about black life. This is about Walter Wallace Jr. Say his name.
Walter Wallace.
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 We still don't know who killed Walter Wallace. Who killed Walter Wallace? Who killed Walter Wallace?
The police!
Who killed Walter Wallace?
Pigs!
Who killed Walter Wallace? Walter Wallace! We want to know their fucking name. We know they were pigs. We want to know their name. It's not enough that it was just another of the police district. We want to know their fucking names. They need to be held accountable. They say that they're here to serve and protect, but the only people that they serve and protect are each other. names because they're protecting them motherfuckers that showed up on that block, so-called to help, and shot that man down when he was in need in front of his mother. They shot that man down in front of his mother while she stood there crying and begging them, and in front of his wife who just had their baby. Their baby was just born. Don't come over here talking about no fucking election. If anybody wanna fucking vote, they already know they're gonna do that shit. And if they don't wanna fucking vote, then they're not gonna do that shit. But you don't come over here when we are talking about a man that was shot down by the police and start talking some fucking electoral political shit. You are not gonna use that man's murder. You are not gonna use that family's trauma in order to push your political objectives. Brother here from the neighborhood. This brother's from the neighborhood. I may agree with what he's going to say. I may not agree with what he's going to say. But we are going to give voice to the people who are from here.
Real quick. Before the brother gets to speak, right? I want to say something very important about the names. 6 years ago, when we were organizing here in the city of Philadelphia, after Darren Wilson was acquitted for the murder of Mike Brown, about a month later, December 2014, here in Philadelphia, Brandon Tate Brown was killed by the PPD. Some of y'all remember the name Brandon Tate Brown. Yes. We supported his mom, Miss Tanya Brown Dickinson, for the entire year afterwards with that campaign. But what was a critical part of the campaign was that for the first few months, we had no idea who killed Brandon Tate Brown. So can you imagine the emotion? Can you imagine the anger? Can you imagine the rage when you know who killed him? You know who killed my son, but because of your own codes and laws, legislation, you won't tell me as a mother who killed my son, and you know who did it. That is the apex of disrespect. It's the apex of insensitivity. It's the apex of hate. It's the apex of evil as a system. But to this day, we organized, we mobilized, strategized, and got those names. Until this day, I'll never forget the names of the 2 cops who are still on the force, mind you, who killed Brandon Tate Brown. Their names are Nicholas Corelli,
Fuck him.
and Hank Dane.
And fuck him.
We got 2 officers who are still on the force. Now mind you, how deep is this? How deep is this? The fact that we have an FOP who, whenever their boys do what they do, he comes out the woodworks and says, no, we want to protect them. I'm going to tell y'all right now, family, the body cam is going to come out soon. It's going to make everybody very incensed. When you all see it, I'm telling y'all right now in advance, because the family already saw it, and they told us what was on it. Y'all, if you think that you're angry today, when you find yourself on November 4th, by the way, that was on purpose, I think election, by the way. That was on purpose, nothing but accident. You're gonna find yourself trying to figure out still what's next. Our position is this, this is good. We have to do this. But we also gotta organize ourselves as well, right?
That's right.
There are systems in place that we gotta end, that we gotta destroy. Right?
Yes.
Am I right on
Abolish
that?
that shit.
Yes.
Abolish that shit.
It's gotta go. It's gotta go. No more insanity. The insanity says that what doesn't work, we're gonna keep doing it. Over and over and over again. Who here is insane? Who here is insane? Well, some of y'all might be insane in a different kind of way, right? But the bigger point is, we're not making the same mistakes of generations past, which is voting in the same leaders who do nothing, having the same organizations who do nothing, having the same speakers who do nothing, who have no record or rep in the neighborhood, right, at all, huh? No record or rep. But in the past week, what did we see? To tell you, all the opportunists come up the woodwork. Yep. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Have we seen opportunists?
Yes.
You ain't seen them all year. You ain't seen them all summer. We've been rumbling all summer with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all year. We've been in schools all year, past 2 years. But now, because it hit the fan in here in Philadelphia, now you want to come out your house. Damn it, get to the back. You ain't worth it here. We about those who are passionate and want change. So we want to hear from the community. And if you have something from the community to say, this is the moment to do that. All right? We want that to happen clearly because this is a moment of this is a reckoning right now. What our sister said happened on 61st Street, we got to understand what that meant. Why would they say get off the block? We got to do a deep dive into that question. We got to do a deep dive into that question. So another brother said he wanted, and then we're going to do after that.
One thing I do want to just also make sure we understand is that we have to be really, really sensitive to the trauma that our family members suffer. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but people wanted to descend on that block. I don't know how many people know that there's another family who lost their child to gun violence earlier. Now, it wasn't police gun violence, but that doesn't change the suffering of their mother, and it doesn't change why this shit brings that up for her. When we go into a community that has suffered trauma, we have to do that, putting the community first. We cannot push our politics or our objectives in front of the needs of the community members that we are claiming we are showing up to stand in solidarity with. What happened over there added to trauma. And we have to own that. We have to acknowledge that, because we cannot do that shit again. That is not how we love each other. That is not how we say that our Black lives matter. We should not be having family members in the community that just less than a week ago lost somebody to that kind of trauma, having to be outside yelling and screaming and arguing with people about what they want to happen on their block. We should not be making that shit happen. We have to be most responsible. We have an ultimate responsibility to make sure we are actually taking good care of our families. Every moment, and in particular in moments like these. So we need to acknowledge that shit, and we gotta make sure we show up, but we gotta make sure we show up right. We're gonna let this brother speak, and since we're here, and we're gonna let this brother speak, we're here. I don't live here, okay? So I'm not here to hold space in a community instead of that community. Since we ended up here, we are going to give voice to the people who live here. We're going to start with this brother here.
I'm an American citizen, born here in the United States, and I'm a Democrat and I'm Muslim. And the situation stands that the black commissioner, she holds control of the police department. However, the situation is not standing fulfilling, because if she was in the corners to state, to put her feet down, then this situation would not happen. Why? Because the situation of hidden white supremacy of police officers and coaching black police officers to do damage, making circumstance favorable to violate the situation of the black community. However, if the situation, if it was white, if it was black shooting whites, it would still be the same. It would still be the same. Meaning that if the police commissioner cannot atone the situation of her quantity of policemen, then the situation is going. I hate to say this, but the situation. I'm not a revolution, and I'm not trying to overthrow or subvert. However, the situation makes circumstance favorable that a war against cops.
Against what?
War against cops. That means that the situation, those who show that intelligence, can't handle that situation like that. If the situation is not fulfilling to cease, there will be a war against cops handled in this probable cause.
I hear you.
Now, once again, I'm not into going to, because I'm a trumpeter. I went to Philadelphia Musical Academy, okay? I teach police officer children trumpeting, okay? Now, the situation, this circumstance of killing my people, the same thing of anti-power of those who are not in the corners to stay out of the cave, okay? You know what I'm talking about, and due respect, okay? Now, that situation stands that I'm not prejudiced, but I'm putting it real for what it is. That situation in the police department makes circumstance favorable to be in the corners of its hidden closet of their brain. Thinking that, well, I'm a police officer, I can go head on and bang and slump the situation of those who I really do not like. That situation don't call for me because you took the oath. I took the police department test as a Muslim. Right. I took the police department test, and however the situation, I took the oath to uphold the community, black and white.
Do you know what it's like to see a mother cry over the loss of her child after a situation like that? Do you know what that's like? People here, you have people that you love. We all have people that we love. I have people who I love to the core. I have people who I love more than I love my own life. That's the love of a mother. That is the love of a mother. To sit and watch her son be gunned down when he needed help. And now they're trying to drag that family. They're trying to drag that family while they're trying to pull together sympathy for those pigs that killed their son, their father, their husband. We will not have it. We will not have it. Are we gonna take that shit? No. Are we gonna take that? No. And I would tell you what we told the Wallace family. And we say it here so anybody can hear us. We are here for them. And if they need us, they call us and we will squad up. And if that's not your position, you're really not welcome here. Okay? If you do not take that position, then you are not welcome here. We don't need motherfuckers for a march. Okay? people who will stand and deliver when strength and true solidarity is needed.
Yes, yes. One thing I want to say, right, real quick. This is a very important moment in time. As members of the Black Philly Radical Collective, right, which is an organization of other organizations here in Philadelphia that have been fighting against police terror, not only just this year, but for many years. Right? We know that police terror in Philadelphia isn't a new story, is that right? We know that, right? The killing of Walter Wallace Jr. occurred 3 blocks from the MOVE bombing. I'm gonna say it again, because maybe I didn't follow that. On 61st and Osage, on May 13th, 1985, the city of Philadelphia dropped a bomb on a home, killing 11 men, women, and children, burnt down 61 homes, and displaced over 250 people in the neighborhood. Until this day, none of those officers have ever been convicted of anything. Till this day.
Fuck the pigs!
And just a month ago, 2 months ago in May, we recognized the 35-year anniversary of that bombing. Guess who got arrested and sent to prison as a result of the MOVE bombing? Only our dear sister Ramona Africa. How about that?
Fuck that shit.
So that happens 3 blocks from where Walter Wallace Jr. was killed. We just watched the film on Monday through the Philadelphia Film Festival called 40 Years a Prisoner, talking about the 40 years that Mike Africa Jr.'s parents served as members of the MOVE 9, first arrested in 1978. The Rizzo administration. And if you don't know the legacy of Rizzo in Philadelphia, the barbarism, the evil, the white supremacy, he said out of his own mouth that his cops could beat Cuba out of his own mouth. This is the 70s, family. So the legacy of police terrorism has always been clear for Black people. We've known it, we've experienced it, we've seen it, and damn it, we're tired. So when our family, George Floyd, when our family, Breonna Taylor, when our family, Tony McDade, when our family, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the names, lost their lives, Elijah McClain, right? Lost their names. We said in the spirit of unity, this can no longer be a fractious, siloed process. This has to be a unified process. If you are a Black organization doing excellent work in West Philly, damn it, let's get on board. If you are a Black organization doing great work in Germantown, damn it, let's get on board. If you're down North Philly or Strawberry Mansion, damn it, let's get on board. If you're down South Philly, down Tasker, or down Passyunk, damn it, get on board. If you're in the Northeast even, for all my Coppin Avenue folks, all my Adams Avenue folks, damn it, get on board. If you're in Southwest, get on board. Huh? This is serious business right now. Our lives are under attack and have been since we've been here in this country. We've been warred on and warred upon for who knows how long. We've been fighting, we've been marching, we've been walking, we've been building, we've been strategizing, organizing, mobilizing, but we've said the time is now to embrace that ancestral obligation. Y'all didn't hear me on that. It's okay. See, when we have libations, family, and we call on certain names to enter into a space, that's not fun and games. When we pour water to the earth and introduce Malcolm X, Ida B. Wells, Ella Baker, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mama Harriet Tubman, they've been arrested. They did their job, and they in the realm of the ancestors. And we pour that water and call them out to a space. You're asking them to do work on behalf of you. So don't you dare ever again pour water for our resting ancestors and pull them into some BS. So when George Floyd happened, we formed a collective, but more importantly, we laid down demands. Everybody say, defund the police? Defund the police? Defund the police? Abolish the police. Abolish the police. Abolish the police. Some of y'all got a little quiet on the second one. Huh? Some of y'all got a little more quiet. I get it though. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. But we understand also that we have 13 other demands that we lay out to the people. I didn't say one, I didn't say 10, 13. And this is our position as a community, representing several organizations, several community groups, and several neighborhoods that came together to say, we cannot exist in Philadelphia like this any longer. Can we do it? No. Can we do it? No. Can we do it? No. So I'm gonna let my sister give off those demands so that we're all informed and you can take it back to your own neighborhoods, because the most important day of today, we're gonna rally, we're gonna build, we're gonna communicate, we're gonna share social media, we're gonna type, we're gonna write, we're gonna share on our independent media. But the most important day of today is tomorrow. Because we're all gonna leave here and we're gonna marinate on what was said today. We're gonna think about what was shared today. We're gonna process and have conversations and deliberate dialogue with our roommates, with our neighbors, with our family, our siblings, our parents, and think through, how do I implement these ideas into my own life, into my own work, and into my day-to-day operation? Does that sound good? Does that sound good? All right.
When I say fists up, you say fight back. Fists up! Fight back! 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 We are in Malcolm X Park. We in Malcolm X Park, so if you are in Malcolm X Park, you better bring some Malcolm X energy. I said if you in Malcolm X Park, you better bring some Malcolm X energy. Now I'm gonna read the demands of the Black Philly Radical Collective, but before I do that, I wanna make sure you heard Brother Gabe. On Monday, when we found out that the Philadelphia police murdered our brother, Walter Wallace Jr., who needed care, and instead got 14 shots in front of his mother, in front of his community. We were at a film screening of a documentary that's coming out that all of you should watch called 40 Years a Prisoner. It tells the story of what happened on August 8th, 1978. If you are a resident of the city of Philadelphia, if you are in this space, you better know what happened on August 8th, 1978. We watched the story of how the Philadelphia police targeted the MOVE organization. We were actually sitting right next to Mike and Debbie Africa, who are two members of the MOVE 9. If you don't know who the MOVE 9 and you are living in the city of Philadelphia, you better Google it. Google it right now. We were sitting right next to Mike Jr., who was born in prison because of what happened on August 8th, 1978. And let me tell you something. The protests, the demands of the MOVE organization of 1978 is the same exact shit that we're fighting about in October 2020.
That's right.
I don't think y'all are hearing me. The same exact racist, white supremacist, capitalist system that kills black people, that robs us of our freedom, that they were fighting for in 1978, we are still fighting for in 2020. Do you appreciate that?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
So, know that when we are talking about abolishing the police, it is because we have seen that this system, this policing, is incapable of reforming itself.
That's right.
Yep.
On Monday night, how many of you came out here on Monday night and Tuesday night? Right here on Monday night and Tuesday night. Raise your hand if you came out here. We came out here because the police killed Walter Wallace Jr. And what happened? The police chased us, hunted us. We watched community members get beaten down by the police. We watched police vans, police cars drive through the crowd, not caring if they hit anybody. This narrative of looting is bullshit. Let me tell you that right now. Because what we see every time we take to the streets is that the police are the ones who escalate violence. It's the police who bring violence. All we are doing is trying to live, trying to defend ourselves, trying to protect our freedom. And we have been saying it for years. The system is not broken, it's working.
Right.
The system is not broken, it's working.
That's right.
And if the system is working, if it requires black people to be killed, then we need to uproot this system and build something else. Now, the reason why we came up with these 13 demands is because we realized that we are so programmed that we don't even have a vision of what a world without police can look like.
Yes.
But we want you to know that it is possible.
Yes.
It is possible in the city of Philadelphia to not have police kill black people,
Yes.
for our communities to be safe. So I want you to listen. I want you to listen to the demands. I want you to sit with the demands. We want you to think with the demands. We want you to get on board with the demands.
That's right.
Because we have been saying this shit for years. We've been out here since May, June, July, August, September, and here we are still in October. So if you didn't hear us in May, hear us now.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
I said, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's be clear. There is no compromising on these demands. We will stay in these streets until our demands are met. Say it with me. Demand one.
Demand one.
We demand an authentic defunding of the police budget. Once the uprising started in May, the mayor's office, the city council, they tried to act like they were responding to what we were out in the streets for. They tried to act like they were defunding the police. They said they removed $30 million from a $750 million budget, and they expect us to be grateful.
Nope.
When in fact, all they did is shift the money from one pot to another pot. We demand an authentic defunding of the police budget. Say demand two.
Demand two.
Immediately cease the criminalization of black resistance. All summer, our supposedly progressive DA has been arresting protesters, but can't seem to arrest the killer cops, the cops who abuse us, the cops that brutalize us. And we say that resistance is our sacred, righteous right. We have a duty to fight for our freedom, and we will not allow our resistance to be criminalized. Say demand three.
Demand three.
We want an immediate and permanent removal of all symbols of state violence. You saw that they removed Frank Rizzo's statue after people were demanding that shit for years. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. You saw that they boarded up the Columbus statue.
Finally.
But guess what? Wilson Good, the man who allowed the police to drop a bomb on 6221 Osage Avenue, he has a street still dedicated to him up the street. We demand a removal of all symbols of state violence.
Now.
Immediately.
No good.
Say demand four.
Demand four.
We want an immediate and permanent release of Mumia Abu Jamal, Russell Maroon Schultz, Major Tillery, and all black political prisoners. Because guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? They were fighting just like we're fighting. They have been fighting for us, and they are still fighting for us behind the walls. This system took our freedom fighters, took our best soldiers, and guess what? They can take us too. We saw on Wednesday they took our brother Ann Smith, and we say release all political prisoners and no more political prisoners. Free Ann! Free Ann!
Free Ann.
Free
Free Ann.
Free Ann!
Free Ann.
Free Ann!
Free Ann.
Demand five, say demand five.
Demand five.
We want an immediate release of all vulnerable individuals in prison. What are we talking about? Despite the fact that we are in these streets, there is still a pandemic. And we are willing to risk our lives because we recognize that fighting, standing up against this system is worth the risk. But we have members of our community who have pre-existing conditions, who are medically vulnerable. They cannot socially distance in a prison cell. And so we demand that all of our vulnerable prisoners are immediately released. Say demand six.
Demand six.
We want a swift firing of killer cops. A swift firing. We don't want a trial to determine whether or not they can stay on the force. We want them gone. You see, they still haven't told us who killed Walter Wallace.
Who killed Walter Wallace?
Say, who killed Walter Wallace?
Who killed Walter Wallace?
Who killed Walter Wallace?
Who killed Walter
We
Wallace?
want the names.
We want the name.
We want the names.
We want the name.
And we want those killer cops fired.
At least.
At the very least.
Just a fucking start.
Say demand seven.
Demand seven.
We want to abolish the Fraternal Order of Police, the FOP, and the Police Advisory Committee. The FOP presents itself as a labor union, but all they do is protect killer cops. And we want them gone. We want them gone. Say abolish the FOP.
Abolish the FOP.
Say demand eight.
Demand eight.
End the military occupation of the black community.
Now.
Now.
No cop zone.
On May 31st, we saw our beloved communities turned into occupied territory. We saw the National Guard. We saw military tanks. We saw tear gassing on 676, but also right here on 52nd Street. That's right. And after apologizing up and down, telling us they don't know how it happened, just this week they did the same exact shit.
Same shit.
So we are saying end the occupation, the military occupation of the black community now.
Now. Say now.
Now!
Now.
Now!
Now.
Now!
Say demand 9.
Demand 9!
We want protection for Black Philadelphia. We have a right to defend ourselves.
That's right.
What you saw out here in the streets on Monday and Tuesday was black communities defending ourselves. You saw earlier this summer in South Philadelphia, white folks were allowed to walk around with AK-47s, ratchets, steel bats. They could do whatever they want. But all they have for black people is batons and tanks and tear gas and a bullet. We demand our right, we assert our right to defend ourselves. Who protects us?
We protect us.
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 Say demand 10.
Demand 10!
We want an end to all carceral systems. Because guess what? The police and the prison are two sides of the same coin. And we know that Philadelphia is one of the most over-policed, over-incarcerated cities in America. We know that between probation, between cash bail, between warrants, between paroles, between immigration, we have a noose around our collective necks. And we want an end, we want the abolition of the police and all carceral systems that deny black freedom, our right to live.
Now.
Say demand 11.
Demand 11.
We demand a disbanding of all private police departments.
That's right.
Because guess what? Guess what? It's not just Philadelphia police that we are fighting. On 52nd Street, guess who else came? Penn Police,
Right.
Drexel Police,
Right.
SEPTA Police,
Right.
PHA Police.
Right.
We want them all of them. Now here's the part that people don't understand. We are not just talking about destroying, dismantling, abolishing systems. We are also talking about placing them
Building.
with the support that our communities actually need. So say demand 12. Fund, fuck 12, fuck 12, fuck 12, but demand 12. Fund communities and not cops.
Hey.
We want that $750. We want that $750 million in our schools, in our communities, in our businesses, in our health care. We don't want it with the cops.
No.
And finally, say demand 13.
Demand 13.
Economic justice now. What we talking about is reparations, y'all. Since black people stepped foot on these shores, we have been enslaved. We have been Jim Crow. We have been mass incarcerated. We have been exploited. And there is no end, there is no justice without a repaying of the debt to black people, to black Philadelphia, to black America in this country.
And around the world.
And around the world. I hope you heard what we had to say. We are the Black Philly Radical Collective. That is Philly for Real Justice, Black Lives Matter Philly, that is the Black and Brown Workers Cooperative, that is the Human Rights Coalition, that is the Abolitionist Law Center, that is Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, that is the MOVE organization, that is Mobilization for Mumia, and that is the campaign to bring Mumia home. So repeat after me. No justice.
No peace.
Abolish the police.
Fuck the police.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace.
Abolish the
Fuck the police.
No justice.